Alright, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Breaking. Migrants have been arrested for home burglaries. And guys, if you do like this type of content, or if you're interested in this type of content, make sure you check out the link in the description, guys. Alright, let's check it out.
Finally, there is now a crackdown on violent illegal immigrants, and we hope they remain behind bars.
Multi-family home and coming back into frame with several people in handcuffs.
They were part of a heavily armed group of migrants allegedly selling drugs after taking over this multi-family house. They were squatting there despite the landlord trying to get them out.
4 migrant squatters were apprehended in a Bronx residence for gun and drug offenses after failing to attend appointments with immigration and customs enforcement upon their release in the U.S. However, out of the 8 Venezuelan migrants taken into custody during the NYPD raid on March 27th, it was discovered that 3 had previous encounters with law enforcement. Yoesi Pino Castillo, Yojairo Martinez, Javier Alborno, and Yerbin Lozado Munoz were among the individuals who found themselves in the custody of the U.S. Border Patrol in Texas between September 2022 and May 2023. However, as the processing centers were filled with a large number of people, they were eventually granted their freedom. One of the 8 criminals, Johan Cardenas Silva, was detained in October 2022 in Texas and was instructed to leave the country. In March, a judge ruled that Silva should be deported from the United States. However, in 7 months, the 35-year-old was let go from Stewart County Detention Center with a requirement to check in at New York City. But when Silva arrived in New York City, he didn't make it to the enforcement and removal operations appointment.
Right, we can pretty much guarantee that he didn't make that appointment, bro. Listen, so we have dealt with now, like specifically in Manhattan, we've dealt with a 15-year-old, firing off a firearm within Times Square, hitting a Brazilian national, right, in a leg, then running off to Yonkers and things like that. Then we had a lot of like all these brand new theft rings popping up all around Manhattan, where people are taking people's cell phones and accessing bank records through their cell phones, and they're making sure to basically run up behind you, right, and take it while your phone is on, right? You get what I mean here? Unlocked. That's wild. And now we're dealing with some of these individuals breaking into houses. Okay, guys. However you were voting before, it needs to stop, right? I'm telling you, it can't. This cannot continue.
Wait, do they actually think he will show up for check-ins? He narrowly escaped being deported. During the check-in process, migrants are expected to submit a claim, which may be for asylum, and inform officials about their place of residence. This allows immigration authorities to assess the necessary level of supervision. Also, 4 others did not show up for their processing appointments. This is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Hector de Sousa Villalta, a 24-year-old man, allegedly brandished a firearm at someone on the property in the Bronx last Wednesday. This incident led to the surprising discovery of squatters. After being taken into custody, de Sousa Villalta was given a notice to appear, and then he was released on his recognizance. A quick one. A recognizance is a promise made to the court that one will attend all judicial proceedings and will not engage in illegal activities or other prohibited misconduct. As the case may have it, he is one of 3 migrants who had prior arrests before the 8 Venezuelans were arrested and charged with gun and drug offenses. Makes one wonder why the court released these criminals back into the streets.
Because a lot of these major cities are just completely lawless. They no longer care about punishing people for the crimes because it hurts their feelings. I think that's basically how it looks, at least outside looking in. Right? I luckily moved out of this area.
Gets worse. Last year, de Sousa Villalta was arrested by the Yonkers police and faced charges of attempting to take someone's life. However, the case was eventually dismissed because the victim chose not to cooperate. It doesn't end there. Alborno's criminal record,
meaning that the victim was in fact threatened,
because the victim chose not to cooperate. It doesn't end there. Alborno's criminal record stretches back to March 2023, when the NYPD apprehended him for petty theft and let him go on his own accord. Also, in June 2023, he was arrested once more in New Jersey for shoplifting, and then again in September in New York City for possessing a weapon in the 2nd degree. Just this January, the Woodbridge police in New Jersey detained Alborno for shoplifting. but he was released later that month on his recognizance. Fortunately, ICE has once again apprehended 3 migrants, namely De Sousa Vilalta, Martinez, 42, and Castillo, 20, who are now undergoing deportation proceedings.
New this morning, police have arrested several people after a fight broke out at the Randall's Island Migrant Shelter.
Chaos erupted at the Randall's Island Migrant Shelter in the early hours of Monday when a group of rowdy individuals got into a fight, resulting in 4 security guards being injured and 1 migrant being stabbed. 5 men, suspected to be migrants residing at the shelter, were arrested for assault after attacking a 24-year-old victim while he was having his meal on his bunk at approximately 1:45 a.m. The individuals accused of the crime are Howard Ochoa Olivero, aged 27, Jose Manuel Maza, aged 29, Jose Squera, aged 20, Xavier Pacheco, aged 32, and Carlos Maiz Betancourt, aged 23. They have all been charged with third-degree assault. In this latest episode of Chaos at Migrant Shelters,
yeah, but unfortunately they got charged in Manhattan, and what's going to happen? They're just going to be let go, bro.
Law enforcement sources have reported that 4 security guards were injured during the overnight brawl. The outnumbered guards faced a barrage of rocks, chairs, and even food thrown by the unruly migrants. 1 guard's injuries were severe enough to require hospitalization. A similar incident happened in January when a man lost his life due to stab wounds. The tragic stabbing incident at the tent city on Randall's Island was motivated by a dispute over a woman. Asylum seekers residing in the shelter have described the atmosphere as tense, with different groups armed and divided into groups. The victim, a 24-year-old, was involved in an altercation with another asylum seeker in the cafeteria tent on Saturday evening. The disagreement started because the victim was talking to the other person's girlfriend. Amid the altercation, the victim was attacked by a group of 4 individuals. One of the suspects, aged 26, proceeded to brandish a knife and inflict stab wounds on the victim's neck and chest, as per sources. However, the victim was swiftly transported to Harlem Hospital, where he was tragically declared deceased. Authorities found the knife at the location and apprehended the alleged stabber, while the other 3 accomplices remain at large.
Prosecutors say that suspect has a pattern of following women from train stations and attacking them from behind.
And when you think the worst is over, Elvis Hernandez Pernolet, a Venezuelan migrant, has been accused of committing a terrible crime at the University of Illinois Chicago, UIC campus. This incident took place recently when Hernandez Pernolet, who also goes by the name Luis Guevara, reportedly followed a woman from the UIC Halsted Blue Line station. It is concerning to learn that Hernandez Pernolet not only assaulted the woman, but also took her belongings before running away. It is worth mentioning that the victim was not connected to UIC as a student or staff member.
Okay.
Regrettably, this was not an isolated case. According to court records, Hernandez Pernolet assaulted another woman after trailing her from a train station. Consequently, he is now facing charges of criminal abuse, aggravated battery and strangulation, robbery, and attempted robbery. Furthermore,
how much more?
On March 9th, Hernandez Pernolet was reportedly captured on surveillance stealing items from a TJ Maxx store. He boldly placed the stolen goods in his backpack before exiting the store.
Federal immigration officials say 2 of those suspects are linked to a violent Venezuelan gang called Tren de Aragua.
At least 4 of the migrants involved in the disturbing incident where 2 NYPD officers were attacked in Times Square are part of the infamous Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua. Wilson Juarez, aged 21, and Kelvin Servita Arocha, aged 19, are currently in custody without bail by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials.
Okay, good.
They are reputed members of a notorious gang that has established a presence in New York City. These individuals are being held in connection with the attack on New York officers, which occurred on January 27th. Fortunately, immigration agents caught Juarez and Arocha inside a Bronx apartment after police carried out an arrest warrant for a different asylum seeker linked to the Times Square attack. Arocha was taken into custody on an ICE warrant, and his detention status will be reviewed, whereas Juarez was detained based on a deportation order issued by a judge in El Paso, Texas. In a recent development, a second migrant connected to the Times Square attack has been detained without bail in New York City. However, Darwin Andres Gomez Izquiel, age 19, who was previously released without bail after assaulting 2 police officers on January 27th, has now been sent to Rikers Island for allegedly shoplifting at a Macy's store in Queens. This decision was made just before Ulises Bojorquez, age 21, became the 8th migrant to be arraigned for the assault and was ordered to be held on either a $100,000 cash bail or a $250,000 bond. In just one day, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, managed to apprehend 5 undocumented immigrants in the Boston area. Surprisingly,
bro, it's in Boston now too?
4 of them are now being accused of committing terrible acts against children. Additionally, they also caught an individual associated with the infamous MS-13 gang, who comes from El Salvador. What's even more astonishing is that this particular person had been released before, despite facing charges of violent crimes. ICE remains committed to removing these unlawful criminals from our streets, as they pose a major threat to the safety and well-being of our citizens.
We'll see.
But it is not getting any better.
Of recent migrants from Venezuela terrorized New Yorkers, robbing them violently and then hacking their phones to drain bank accounts of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The city is facing significant challenges due to the presence.
Like, guys, don't walk around the city with your phone to your head, bro. Don't do that.
Of gang members, leading to a rise in criminal activities. Many New Yorkers have become victims of theft, committed by migrants riding mopeds and scooters. Here's how they carry out their operation. 2 individuals ride on the back, with one snatching the belongings of unsuspecting New Yorkers, while the other focuses on making a quick escape. But it doesn't stop there. They don't discriminate when it comes to stealing purses, wallets, jewelry, and especially phones. They are particularly interested in phones because they can access a person's financial information and empty their accounts. This is particularly concerning because many victims are caught off guard while making phone calls. When you're on a call, your phone becomes vulnerable, exposing all your personal information and valuable data. The situation has become so serious that people are not only suffering significant financial losses, but also enduring physical harm due to these criminal activities.
A part of a sophisticated criminal enterprise made up of migrants who have recently arrived in the United States.
On February 5th, the police apprehended several of these wrongdoers during a raid at apartment 2790 in the Bronx. Mayor Eric Adams joined the police team, and together they seized 22 stolen phones and uncovered the identity of the mastermind behind their activities, a man named Victor Parra. However, Victor Parra is still on the loose. The implementation of a curfew in around 20 migrant shelters ensures that migrants must be inside their shelters from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., prioritizing the safety of asylum seekers. Their shelters from 11 p.m. to 6.
I have money. I'm available. Go get them. Imagine. Bro, whoever sent that message, right, needs to go to jail.
6 a.m., prioritizing the safety of asylum seekers and local New Yorkers. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York has proposed an additional $2.4 billion in her 2025 budget to address the migrant crisis in New York City. The estimated cost of providing food, shelter, and health care for all migrants currently in the city amounts to a significant $10 to $12 billion. Furthermore, it is important to highlight that the majority of migrants in New York City are not involved in gangs or criminal activities. Many of them are simply seeking a better life or escaping challenging circumstances in their home countries.
The vast majority of migrants are not engaging in crime. They're not causing any problems at all. People are trying to come here either for economic opportunity or to flee from unsafe conditions in their own countries.
Yeah, that's extremely valid. Keep in mind what we're encountering. It may seem like it's everything and everywhere because it kind of feels like that, right? But in fact the facts are, guys, it is absolutely a minority, but this minority is extremely loud right now, bro.
The city authorities are putting in a lot of effort to decrease gang activity by installing security cameras and metal detectors in shelters. This is to monitor potential offenders and ensure the safety of innocent migrants. Mayor Adams believes that the crimes and misconduct by migrants are a result of the lack of work visas for asylum seekers in the city. He is calling on the federal government to offer assistance and financial aid to New York to address this crisis. But unfortunately, his pleas have largely been ignored.
If you think you could threaten the lives of the very people who keep us safe, if you think you could put others at deadly risk and get away with it, then think again. We will never stop pursuing you.
The New York Police Department, NYPD, has repeatedly emphasized its commitment to continue apprehending gang members and individuals suspected of engaging in illegal activities.
I mean, listen, I think when it comes down to it, if you really want Washington, D.C. specifically to recognize the actual issue itself, just like how the governor of Texas sent people to New York, send these people to D.C. If you really want them to notice, okay? Just go ahead and point that out, because that sounds absolutely logical. Other than that, D.C. doesn't care at all, right? Unfortunately. But all right, listen, if you guys do like this type of content or want to find more information kind of regarding the overall topics that we spoke about today, check out the link in the description. The name of the channel is NYC Uncovered. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.